snap. Hey, what's up? What's good? What is happening? It is I, the actual King Smith, back up in this thing after being a week off from a live stream. I made some updates and some changes. Let me see if my soundboard is working. Can y'all hear the claps? Can y'all hear the claps? I am happy to be back. All right, let's get some marketing stuff out the way. Let's get some acknowledgments of the people that have tuned in early. And then I'm going to get into my topic for today. We are all free, but what are you a slave to? We got God Happened to Me in the building, said that my soundboard can be heard. Thank you, ME. All right. We're streaming across multiple platforms. We got LinkedIn, which I got a comment from LinkedIn in the building. Shout out to Tamika Smalls over there in the building. All right. We're streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. If you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Help me out on the algorithms. That's the algorithm over here. I got to ask the question about my backdrop over on YouTube. That's a work in progress. All right. But to acknowledge the early people in the building, I want to say salute to Tamika Smalls. I appreciate you. She said that she's a slave to food. I used to be. I might still be. All right, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about while we're living in the 21st century, all right, and we have a lot more freedoms than people did back in the day. Sometimes you're still a slave to other things. And I'm going to talk about the three common things that I see. And then if anybody has anything there, feel free to add them. If I don't hit one of the three things that I've observed, I'd like for you to put them in the chat like Tamika Smalls did. Said a slave to food. In what way and have you overcame it? That's what I'd like to know. Okay, so what is the actual King Smith page if you are new to this channel? Every Tuesday, or most Tuesdays, at 8:30 Eastern, I come on live and I have a topic. I have something that's just on my mind. And a lot of the things are spurned from conversations that I have with people out in the real world. And sometimes on these YouTube streets or digital content, right? And there's a bazillion billion people in the world that are living life and things. And look, we've got platforms like this to be able to share ideas. Okay. And sometimes I just want to get stuff off my head. So every Tuesday I come on live. I do my Tuesday vlog and I talk about whatever the funk I want to talk about. Okay. So if you're here and this is your first time, thank you. All right. Let's get into my opening monologue and let me put my phone on do not disturb here so I'm not disturbed. And then we're going to come back and tune into the comments. Okay, so here's my opening monologue for the day. We all live in a world where we have many freedoms, a whole lot of freedoms. 100 years ago or so, that wasn't necessarily the case. All right, but despite the many advantages that most of us have, some of us are still slaves to something, myself included. Okay, and it could be anything. It might be a job that you're currently working right now that you absolutely hate. Maybe, just maybe, it's a toxic ass relationship that you just can't seem to break away from. All right. It could be some type of addiction, gambling, alcohol, drugs, things of that nature, social media, or something else completely. All right. The thing is, look, these things can hold us back from truly experiencing the freedom that we all have been given. I personally am sick and tired of people still feeling like they're restricted because of what other people place on them. No, you're not. This is not the 1800s, okay? This is not the 1800s. We have more freedoms now than two generations above us did, thanks to a whole lot of things, thanks to several people's hard-earned sacrifice, okay? Generations before my generation, before my parents' generation, even, they know what sacrifices are. They know the things that they could and could not do. Okay. There's been people that's done a lot more to ensure the freedoms of today that I acknowledge, that I understand, and that I want to make sure that I'm no longer a slave to a lot of the things that people have fought for, that people have died for. All right. Most of us are physically free to be able to do as we please, but we're still mentally and emotionally, which I saw somebody down there in the comments talked about, emotionally enslaved to something that can keep them bound and chained. All right. So I want to challenge y'all today to think about this. Truly have an understanding of what you are a slave to. What's holding you back from experiencing true freedom? Take some time to think about that. And then do what I always talk about on this on this channel, which is take action. Make a plan and take action. Nothing gets moved on its own. You do not get from point A to point B without doing anything. So whether it's seeking help for that addiction, whether it's making that plan to leave that toxic relationship, or whether it's finding some type of new career path, you have to take the necessary steps to break free from what's holding you back. I put an interesting thumbnail on the title too to kind of catch some eyes. But if anything, the one thing that I want you to keep in mind is that we're all free, but you have to take steps to ensure that you fight for that freedom and keep that freedom, and that you're not a slave to things that can hold you back. Okay. Don't let things that you can control and things that you can handle hold you back from living your best life. All right. Now I'm going to go into 3 things that I see are common things that people are slave to. It's not the only 3 things, but these are the 3 things that when I look around at my peers, at the generations above me, at the generations below me, these are the 3 things that I see that most people are a slave to. So I'm going to come back over here into the comment section, and I'm going to see what the people have contributed to this conversation. Like Tamika Small said earlier, and I highlighted, a slave to food. All right. Let's see. We had God Happened to Me said, normally I would say that I'm a slave to food, but the reality is I'm a slave to my emotions. That was my 4th one. The emotions thing, if I were to go to like a top 5, emotions would have been 4. Emotions, that would have been 4. I'm personally not a slave to my emotions, but I can see how people who are a slave to their emotions can withhold themselves from opportunities, things that they could definitely thrive and excel in, but they either hold themselves self back because of a lot of negative self-talk, which I think I am going to talk about that just a little bit. Okay. But she also said that her emotions drive what she does, what she eats, and how she behaves. Absolutely. And that's for a lot of people. Some people, because they're slaves to their emotions and they make bad decisions, end up being in jail for a little piece or a little outburst, to where they were a slave to their emotions, cause them to get riled up and do something that they can't turn back from. Absolutely. All right. So the first thing that I want to highlight, actually, before I do that, Tarika said, I think people are slaves to being a people pleaser. Absolutely. Look, I love social media. But social media is a bit of a gift and a curse. So think about this. I say that if you have social media, which if you go into the description box, I have my link tree. I'm on all or most of the major social media platforms, right? And the reason why I do that is because I believe that the more exposure that people have to me, the better opportunities that can come my way. Because think about this. Think about this. And I've talked about this before. When you have a social media presence, people tend to feel as though they know you. It may be what you're presenting online, but the more exposure you have, the more people feel as though that they know you. It's been interesting. I have done some promo work for a couple of different nonprofits and things, and somebody saw one of the commercials that I was in and offered to pay for my gas because they said that the commercial impacted them. And I thought that's been the coolest thing that has happened because of social media. But to Tarika's point, some people are a slave to being a people pleaser because they want to be liked. I liken that to also being a people pleaser on social media as well, posting the things that you know are going to get you likes and engagement and things like that. So it causes you to continue to think in a manner or think in a way of making sure that you're keeping that stuff up so that people like you. You can absolutely be a slave to being a people pleaser, and that's what drives your decisions. I 100% agree with that. The first thing that I'm going to talk about of the three things that I commonly see that people are a slave to is debt. They don't have their finances in check. And being a slave to debt means that you're trapped in a cycle of borrowing and repaying money that you owe to other people, such as lenders or creditors. Most of the time, people that do this, their credit rating or their credit score isn't high. So they have a higher interest rate to be able to borrow that money, and it takes them longer to pay it back. And it can be challenging and it can be stressful. And because it deals with money and money makes the world go round, it touches every facet of your life, your financial well being, your mental health, and even your personal relationships. Being bad with money does that. Okay. When you're in debt, most of the times you feel like it's a constant struggle to make ends meet and that you're unable to save money because of that. You're unable to plan for your future. You're unable to do things because, man, I got this debt that I need to pay off. And that's constantly one of your higher priorities. Hey, let's go take a vacation. No, man, I can't do it. I got $11,000 of debt that I need to pay off. Okay. After my divorce, I went from being a 2-income household down to one, and I make pretty damn good money. But I still had a lot of debt that handcuffed me. I made a plan to work towards that debt, increase my income, and decrease my liabilities. And it wasn't easy. It took me working my normal 9 to 5, getting off of my normal 9 to 5, hopping in my car and doing Uber Eats, DoorDash, being a concierge, watching your dog, watching your cat, making trips to pick up items and things for you, dropping stuff off. I was a hustler to get out of debt so that I could increase my financial freedom because I did not want to be a slave to debt. Didn't want to do it. I had some long days, some long weeks, some long months. King, let's go out and do this. No, man, I can't do it after Uber Eats. I got a DoorDash. I got to get this done. I don't have time to be spending money because I need to be making money so that I can pay off things that I owe, people who I owe. It was a struggle. It was a damn struggle. All right. But being in debt can also affect your credit score, make it difficult to obtain things like a loan, or if you take a look at the market today, even like renting an apartment, your credit score and things like that matters. So one of the things that I've been challenging people is to understand what your financial health is and take care of it. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not going to offer any financial advice. What I am going to tell you is what I did. I talked to a certified financial planner to get myself in order. And then I also learned what they taught me and implemented the rest of the plan myself. So yes, I did pay somebody to consult about the best way to get my finances in order initially, but then I was smart enough to understand their plan and then work it myself. Okay. So being a slave to debt often means that you are not in control of your own finances and that you're at the mercy of the people that you owe. It is what it is. But I say that it's important to take the steps to manage your debt, such as creating a budget, seeking financial advice, making a plan, and executing that plan. It's easy to say, not as easy to do. But once you break from that cycle and you have a better financial picture, a better financial background, I'm telling you, things will absolutely change. Absolutely change. Before I get into the next thing that I observe people are being in debt to, let's see what the comments have over here. Speaking to my earlier point, God happened to me said, and to be clear, there's a difference between overposting and being a content creator. Absolutely. I call myself a content creator. I think that being a content creator, you have to understand the business behind it. You have to understand the psychology behind it and things like that. So, yes, I post content as a content creator, sharing various things. And the reason why I choose to do it, I choose to let people in my life to share my life, not so that people can see how good I'm doing. Because let's be honest, most people share the good. It's rare that people share the bad, myself included. But I try to also share the other things as well, so that people that are in the UK, which I have somebody that's emailed me from the UK, people that are in Thailand, people that are in South America, they know that, hey, it's not just them having these thoughts. It's not just them that's going through this. It's not just them that have these issues and challenges. You know, it's other people like myself included. Okay. God happened to me also said King believes the top three things that people are slaves to is, yep, debt and finances. Are you ready for number two? Are you ready for number two? Number two thing that I think that people are a slave to, a majority of people, their job. People are a slave to their job. Let me tell you something right now. I love my job. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, which is in the description of this channel and also where I'm streaming from, it's not hard to see who I work for and where. Now, you don't see how much money I make, but I make really good money. Plain and simple. I love my job. If you take away the money, though, would it be what I would like to be doing? No. I would say that I'd more have a passion for coaching football, than I would be for the current job that I'm doing now. That's just me being honest. Okay. But being a slave to your job means that you feel like you're trapped in a situation where you are unable to leave your job and pursue other opportunities because you are dependent on the income that it provides. You can say that I'm a slave to my job as I finish paying off my debts, child support. I'm a father. If you follow my content, you will know that I am a father of one teenage girl who is in the other room right now enjoying and loving life. I've spent the last couple of days with her and it's been fantastic. All right. But I can't leave my job and just be a bum for a while or pursue passion stuff because of the income that it provides. It pays me really well. It is what it is. And this could be due to various reasons, such as financial obligation, lack of other job opportunities, fear of the unknown, or simply feeling like you don't have any other options. For me, like I said, it's mostly it's my financial obligations and things like that. I'm a well educated young brother. All right, I'm 38. It might not look like it when you see the beard and you see this face, but I'm almost 40 and I'm embracing that. I'm embracing that. But I'm working hard right now to make sure that I get my financial obligations in order so that when I'm 45, I can have a lot of flexibility to do other things if I choose to pursue it. Okay. So, look, when you are a slave to your job, sometimes you don't feel like you have control over a lot of different things. And sometimes you think that your job is the thing that defines you. All right. Sometimes it can impact your personal life. I was thinking about things that it can impact, and I was like, well, it can impact your personal life because you sometimes may not feel like you have enough time to spend with your loved ones or engage in activities that you personally enjoy outside of work. When I was telling y'all about getting off of my normal 9 to 5 and then getting into my car and Uber and DoorDashing and things like that, that meant spending less time doing pretty much anything else. Now, on the times that I had my daughter, I had to limit that, especially during the summer. It kind of sucked because I watched my income, which I was making really good money from doing gig work, drop because, I've got my daughter now. But when I didn't have her, yeah, I was on the road. I was getting out there, making that money for the love of money. But you shouldn't let your job define you. You should not be a slave to your job. So think about that. Okay. Think about, if you're a slave to your job, why you're a slave to your job. And if you are free from your job and you have the opportunities to pursue something else, and your current job situation isn't making you happy or fulfilled, bounce up out that joint. But just like my first point is, you got to make sure that your money's tight. You got to make sure that your money's good. Because look, money makes the world go round. It is that simple. So God happened to me put my second thing up there, and she is hitting the mark. And over on Facebook, Michelle said that you are phenomenal at coaching. I think I'm decent. I think I'm okay. I haven't had a head coaching gig, but head coaching might not be my thing, right? I know how to, I'm a big picture guy. I know how to take certain parts in that big picture and work my part so that you don't have to worry about my part. My part is going to do what it needs to do. I like running backs. I'm a running backs coach. I like the skills that it takes to be a running back, and I can sometimes mesh that into an overall offensive idea to be able to help execute. And I'm good at getting the people who I'm coaching to do what they need to do. Phenomenal is a big word, but I appreciate you on that one. And she said, I said what I said. Hey, we got TDG checking in. TDG is in the building. That's TDG, the dating game. I also, to include with this channel, if you go to my LinkedIn tree, I co-host the dating game over there with Sean, and we talk about various things about life, dating, relationship type stuff, life in general. So if you haven't subscribed to TDG, in the link in the description, if you go into Linktree, you will see a link to the dating game. Go on over there and check it as well. We're going to be going live tonight at 9:30. I'm not quite sure what I kind of know what the subject is, but go on over there and check that out as well. If you missed the live, it'll still be up on the channel. You can tune in to some of the other videos. That's my marketing for that. I have one more point. So if you haven't hit that like button yet, mash that like button. The third thing that I have observed that people are generally slaves to, we've already talked about it. It's your thoughts. It is your thoughts. Okay. Being a slave to your thoughts means that you're constantly trapped in a negative cycle of thinking, and that you're unable to control your thoughts and or emotions. This could manifest in various forms, such as anxiety, depression, self-doubt, or negative self-talk. I tell people all the time, you cannot be your own worst enemy. A lot of the times that starts with negative self-talk and self-doubt. That's where it starts. If you can eliminate those two things, instead of saying I can't, understand that it's more about what's the probability that you can. Even if it's 1%, that is still better than zero. Let me just say that. It's still better than zero. 1% is better than nothing. And nothing really only happens when you don't do anything. And I'm telling y'all, all of 2023, the two things that I'm focused on, the two biggest things, accountability and doing. DOING, doing, taking action. Those are the two things that I'm focused on: being accountable and taking action. If you can work within those two things, you can skyrocket yourself in all of your goals and accomplish so many things. But you have to be accountable and you have to do. No excuses. I get sick and tired when I hear of excuses. Matter of fact, if people start talking to me and they start talking excuses, I just simply tune them out. I don't have time to hear it. I don't have time to hear it. I was putting in 90 to 100-hour work weeks. So when you want to come to me and ask me for $20, my first thought is, have you put in 80 hours this week? I remember that time. Did you sleep in your car for a couple of days because you didn't have a place to stay? I did. So no, I'm not gonna loan you $20. I'm not gonna spot you $100. I don't have a stack for you because I've put in the work to get to where I am now. Have you? Plain and simple. Have you? Okay. TDG in the comments said that being a slave to prawn. Look, yes, that's a relationship killer, prawn, but spelled PORN. But we got to make this YouTube friendly. Okay. I would say outside of top 5, maybe 6. And I'm curious because I'm a guy, so I can understand things from a guy's perspective. What about the ladies? Ladies, check in. Does prawn affect y'all the same way that it affects males? Does it affect the relationships in a negative way? If you know that your person, your significant other, is addicted to it, or let's say if they're not even addicted to it, but they just enjoy it, does it bother you? I'm curious about that one. If we have any ladies in the building, put that one in the comment section. Okay. Michelle said, I feel like your number 3 is geared towards you. No, it's not just you. I mean, that's everybody. When we went on to the Real Preciousness panel yesterday, it was talking about communication. I think secondary to that, it was also talking about your emotions, right? I think it's your emotions. Let's see. I don't think she said that she don't think that women can get addicted to porn, but as far as their partners, it seems as though it affects more men than it does women. Why is that? I'm curious. I'm curious why is that. Pete said, sorry, I'm late. Hey man, it don't matter if you're late, you're here. You could have been doing anything else out there. You could have been watching Prime, but you're here instead. So I appreciate you for popping up. God Happened to Me says, if a man constantly watches Prime, he has a belief of what sex will look like. So to the ladies, it's the expectation that, do you think that he would expect that all the time if that's what he's watching? That's what I'm getting, and that's not too bad as well. Sean says that he believes it's because guys have the higher testosterone levels. That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. And God Happened to Me followed that up with women will never live up to that fantasy. I think it's a two-edged sword. I think it's a two-edged sword. I ain't gonna say used to. Well, yeah, used to. Watched prawn. I was never addicted to it. But I would say that I think it can have negative effects if you become addicted to it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So no hanging from the chandelier. Oh, that's what's up. I think you can use it to get creative, but I mean, I guess a book does that. Like you can have a book that can, help with the creative factors. All right. Interesting conversation. Interesting conversation. Let me get back. I went on a whole sidetrack. All right. Being a slave to your thoughts. can make it difficult to actually enjoy life. Connect with others or pursue your goals. Most of the times, people that are slaves to their thoughts find it challenged to focus on being in the present moment because your mind is constantly worrying about negative thoughts, negative ideas. All right. Majority of times, it does impact your mental health, whether you know it or not, because it can lead to feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, and sometimes you deciding that you wanted to turn your TV off, if you know what I'm saying. So it's essential to recognize the signs of being a slave to your thoughts and seek out help, professional help. I would say you can reach out to me and talk. I will start off by saying this is not professional help, but sometimes people just need somebody to talk to. Sometimes people just need to vent. I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. This is my venting session. Welcome to King's venting session. How about that? There are a lot of different things that you can do to break free from being a slave to your thoughts. I always tell people take a breath, breathe in, do that a couple of times. You will be amazed at how simple understanding your breath work, how understanding your breath work can affect your life. I'm telling you, when I realized this, I was doing an internship with some business component pieces to it, and they had this like mind coach. That's really the best way to describe this person's role. But it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. For the people that bought into it, in my opinion, I think you saw them excel at a greater rate than the people that didn't buy into it because they were electing to have things affect them in a way that people like me that understood how to, Heisman stiff arm stress away. I was able to excel, in my opinion, and do well because I didn't let stress affect me. I didn't let negative self talk enter into my space. I understood how to control my breath and really paid attention to it. I've been doing that since like 2013, and it's been essential to my self development. I wish I would have learned it sooner. When I had a big change in my life, falling back to understanding how to control my breathing really helped me out. I'm not a fan of meditation, but a lot of people are. So I want to at least mention that. You can actually go to YouTube and follow somebody's guide to help you kind of get into that meditation state. All right. But deep breathing exercises have been phenomenal. There's a couple of books that I could recommend. I don't have them right now, but if somebody reminds me, I'll do it on one of my next streams. And if worse come to worse, and I don't even like saying it like that, seek professional help or just talk to somebody. But when you do, use a lot of positive self talk because at the end of it all, you have the power to change your thoughts and take control of your own mental mind state. But you have to be proactive about doing it. That's my stream. Those are the three things that I wanted to cover. I wanted to cover being a slave to debt, being a slave to your job, and being a slave to your thoughts. I find it interesting that with the amount of freedom that we have today, people are still a slave to something. And sometimes it is what it is. But you shouldn't let it affect you in a negative way. Okay? I want to thank everybody who tuned in and contributed for tuning in. Pete said sometimes he has a problem with overthinking everything. That's more common than you can imagine. My advice, my advice, do do just that. Breathe. I understand what you mean by overthinking everything. Part of my issue with sleep is that I have a hard time turning my brain off. That's simple. I have a hard time turning my brain off. So it allows me to have some crappy sleep to then wake up tired the rest of the next day. And you know what? I still have everything that was on my mind on my mind. I still have things to do, responsibilities to take care of, and stuff like that. That's why I try to shed and take care of as much responsibilities as I can so that the things that are going to eventually come up aren't going to affect me. Okay. The unexpected things, stuff that you can't account for, like the loss of a loved one. Okay. A flat tire. I remember going somewhere when I should not have went and not having the money to even get a new tire. A couple of years back, I ended up having a flat tire. I was like 2 or 3 days out from payday and caught a flat. And I'm like, this sucks because now I'm gonna have to get a new tire. I'm gonna have to pay for towing, or if my insurance didn't cover it, which they did. But I was so worried about this flat tire that I had and how I was gonna pay for it that it caused me to have myself some undue stress. I don't worry about that kind of stuff anymore. I've got my finances in order to where things like that aren't going to affect my mental. But it took hard work to get there, and it wasn't easy, and it wasn't quick. So I share that with y'all so that you have an understanding of where I'm coming from with a lot of different things. To the people that have tuned in, thank you. To the people that will tune in, I appreciate you. If you have not hit that like button on your way out the door. I got one more comment to read, and then we're going to be out. TDG said, I don't have that problem, thank God. My brain was turned off about 3 hours ago. But you and I have a live stream to do in about 20 minutes, man. So I'm gonna need you to rack that brain of yours back up, bruh. We got content to put out here in these YouTube streets. So look, thanks everybody. I was off last week, but I am back. Oh, I don't know if I said it at the beginning of the stream, but I'm back monetized too. I am back monetized. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. On YouTube, I was monetized for about a year. They demonetized me for a reason that still doesn't make sense. But thanks to the support of the people out there in these YouTube streets, I'm back monetized. Okay. So that's the announcement. If you're watching this and you would like to contribute, send a super thanks, send a super chat. Let me feel the love if you are so inclined. I'll be back next Tuesday, y'all. Same bat time, same bat channel. I'm out. Peace.